market. What? Today we are gonna dive right into what is a seller's market and what does it mean for you as a seller and what does it mean for you as a buyer. Now the seller's market has been happening due to the fact that there are more home buyers than there are properties to sell. And according to Barr, which is the Denver Metro Association of Realtors, at the start of the year, Denver metro area only had 1,477 active properties on the market. Now that may seem a lot to you as a consumer, but as an agent, we know that that is not the case. It is actually 11,175 fewer than normal. I want to go over with you some factors that are going into producing the seller's market. I think I did my air quotes way too early. But what is producing, what is causing this market to be in such a frenzy for the sellers, right? So the first thing that I want to talk to you guys about is the decreased inventory. With low inventory and more buyers than the market can even handle, what does that mean? In real estate, that means that there's not enough homes that are active for sale for all the active buyers that are wanting to buy. And for a buyer, this means that they are not having a lot of the opportunity to choose from a bigger pool of properties to buy. And we have to remember that those same buyers are competing for pretty much the same homes. That's why if you come across people talking about multiple offers, or if you have a friend who's selling their home and they're like, gosh, we just got so many offers, it means all these buyers are coming in on the low inventory. There's probably about 20 people going after one house in one neighborhood because literally that's the only house available in the market on that street, on that neighborhood, and these particular buyers are looking in the same area. So therefore they're all putting in their offers in, causing this multiple offer situation. If you look into DMR stats, we're seeing that the days on market, or DOM, are sitting significantly lower than others. For example, if I have a buyer who calls me and says, hey Linda, you sent me this property just now, I don't really know if I want to go see it, I'm kind of on the fence, I would be, hey, this is really similar to something that you wanted, or maybe it's exactly what you wanted to see. We either go see it now or move on to the next. It is going so quickly. We're seeing 2 to 3 days on market, which means that these properties are going under contract with a buyer in that amount of days. So I am pushing my buyers, telling them, hey, if it's not something you want to go see, great, but I don't want you calling me 2 days from now going, hey, I want to go see it. And I'm like, I'm so sorry, it's already under contract. So at the moment, we are seeing these times where we're just kind of like, hey, you either gotta, excuse my French, shit or get off the pot. Otherwise, we'll move on to the next. As a seller, this really works in your favor. Less inventory on the market is gonna show your property with less competition. You figure in those days on market, not only is that giving you less time on the market, that's giving you quicker time to go under contract and sell your house. And that receives faster closing time depending on the deal. Back on the buyer side, this gives them more of a time-sensitive task. That little phrase that I used that maybe wasn't so tasteful, but shit or get off the pot, literally, that is the mentality you're gonna have to go into as a buyer. You need to be serious, you need to be crystal clear. This is where your buyer's agent comes in to make sure that you are staying on task with all your needs, all your wants, all the boxes are getting checked so that you can make an informed decision quickly. All of these time-sensitive tasks for you as a buyer, getting your buyer's agent to schedule those showings as soon as possible, getting your offer in if it's something where you see it and you're like, yes, I want to put an offer in on it, awesome. Get that offer in before the deadline of the sellers. Remember also, as a buyer, you're gonna have less chances in this market to get those sellers' concessions, to write out every inspection objection under the sun, because you have to keep in mind that the sellers are getting multiple offers and probably backup offers. I'm not saying that you should give up everything or that you should just walk in blindly. Absolutely not. Your buyer's agent will be there to help guide you as well. This is why you have those pre-conversations before you even start looking for a home, because your buyer's agent needs to understand exactly what your needs are, what your wants are, because sometimes in the heat of the moment or in competition, there are a lot of people who get very, very competitive. You will throw all that shit out the window and you will do, oh my gosh, everything just to get it, and then you'll have buyer's remorse later. So, I actually have a video, I have a link right here, all about getting a house, how to purchase a house with your buyer's agent. Another thing we're gonna talk about is increased competition. This is literally like buyer versus buyer. Whose offer is gonna stand out? And another reason why it's so important to have a good buyer's agent to advocate for you. Kind of how I touched on previously, having those expectations prior to jumping into this crazy market so that you know and your buyer's agents know exactly where you stand within this crazy seller's market so that you do not get overextended on your offer. The fourth thing that we're gonna talk about is gonna be purchase price increase. Kind of think of this as all the balls are mainly in the seller's court, with multiple offers coming from multiple buyers and everyone bringing in their highest and best offer. Now this is really starting to increase that purchase price. So what does that mean? That means from what do you see on listing? So let's say you see a house, you say, hey, I want to go see it in this wonderful seller's market. And hey, it's only listed for $550. Cool. Now you get there, you go over everything. Now it's time to put in an offer. You know that the seller already has multiple offers. You know that there was a ton of showings. So now it's time to put in your best, highest, like whatever you want. How bad do you want the property? And knowing that it's priced at $550, that's probably not what you're gonna be offering. So it could be $5,000 over, it could be $10,000 over. You could be walking away at $600,000 at the end of the day. All of these negotiations, all of these things going back and forth between the listing agent and the seller, and of course the buyer and the buyer's agent, will always push and prove that that purchase price is not always going to be the one set that you see on the property. The best way to look at it is you just kind of want to look at that listing price as a starting point. This is a competitive market with competitive buyers just driving that purchase price up. The fifth thing I want to bring up within regards to a seller's market is the increased leverage that is bestowed upon the sellers. Like I kind of touched on earlier, contingencies, concessions, objections, even appraisals and appraisal gaps are all going to be factored in when you're making an offer and going through the deal. And you have to think about the terms of the contract. All these things that are put within can always sway kind of towards the seller, not so much the buyer in these times. Especially if the seller knows and understands that it's a seller's market due to the fact that they had a great listing agent who told them. So the sellers will understand that as the deal goes, if this buyer doesn't comply or they can't reach an agreement, boop, oh well, bye, on to the next. Honestly guys, ideally speaking, in the perfect scenario, buyers want to buy in a buyer's market and sellers want to sell in a seller's market. But it is so hard to time the market. You never know when it's going to have its ups and its downs. You didn't know that we were going to have the appreciation and the inventories and the competition that we have going on right now. For example, if you have any buyers who told you last year, oh, you know what, I'm totally going to hold off because, I'm just going to wait for the market to go down. I still have a couple months on my lease, are probably kicking themselves in the butt right now going, crap, I guess I should have bought last year. So there's always going to be ups and downs. There's always going to be something gained or something to lose with anything that you do. And if you do nothing, you will absolutely get nothing. Either way you look at it, whether you're trying to buy, whether you're trying to sell, it may be years before you see a perfect market or even close to a perfect market for your scenario. And honestly, I say that lightly because no market is perfect. Doesn't matter. This market is perfect. The market last year wasn't perfect. The year before that, and so on and so on. And next year, there is never going to be a perfect scenario. As a buyer or seller, you just really need to sit down and focus on what is good for you. What's your particular situation? What are your circumstances? Because everyone's outcome and what they need and what their wants are going to be different. So always go through and figure it out. Get yourself a really good buyer's agent if you're looking to buy. Get yourself a really good seller's agent if you're ready to sell. Hello, let me know in the comments below. All my information is there. If you guys have any more questions, and if I didn't cover anything or you want me to elaborate on what we've talked about today, let me know. And if you are not subscribed to my channel, I don't know why you're not, but go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if I don't see you guys around Denver or at a listing appointment, I'll definitely see you on my next video. Bye.